Feels like Ravens tight end Mark Andrews is like the Cooper Cup of the tight end department, at least like in recent weeks. Has 10 or more targets in 4 of his last 6 contests. Second highest price tight end on the slate this week. There's some injury concerns, obviously, with Lamar Jackson. I believe Harbaugh said earlier he's not even going to practice today, but they do expect him to go with that ankle injury. All right, Chase or Fade Andrews, another high volume spot here in Week 15 against Green Bay. Steve.
Yeah, this is an interesting spot because he's sandwiched in between George Kittle, who just came off that ridiculous game from last week, and Kyle Pitts in a game that the Falcons are going to be always playing from behind with. But at least Pitts has been a little bit more sustainable as of late. That being said, like, the tight end position has just been so flushed with value that I just can't do it to keep paying up at this position here. And it's going to keep doing that too if these COVID issues keep running rampant. Like guys like Gerald Everett, who, didn't have a great game last week, but the amount of targets that he's been seeing at 3,500 in a game that the Seahawks should be playing from behind in. James O'Shaughnessy's back in the mix. He's getting some decent targets. Like, it's just so much easier to pay down a tight end so that you can afford some of these other guys like a Cooper Kupp. Or if you're going to, go a little bit off the board and take Josh Allen as the most expensive quarterback this week, I can't do it at the tight end position. I'm going to keep staying down in that mid 3K range. I think that's where you got to do it at tight end.
All right, Matt, what about you, man? You got to pay up for this dude.
I don't know that you have to. I do think this should be another high volume spot. And I actually do think that's the case regardless of who the quarterback is. When Tyler Huntley has started, Andrews has still gotten plenty of volume, if not more, because Huntley is just not going to run as much as Lamar Jackson does. The efficiency of the offense certainly drops, but the targets are still going to be there. I actually like Andrews for GPPs this week because we already talked about Kupp and we kind of talked about Allen and Stephon Diggs. I think that this game goes overlooked a bit. I think people are going to be scared off by the injury concerns for the two quarterbacks, and playing Lamar or Rodgers with, let's say, Mark Andrews and Devontae Adams, like as a stack. I think that could be a way to go where the field just isn't doing it. So I don't think you pay up for Andrews in cash games, but I do think in tournaments, I don't think a lot of people are playing him. So that's kind of why I like him this week.
Yeah, and Pearce, I know most people would prefer Lamar to be the one throwing darts to him, but Tyler Huntley fed the star tight end well in relief.
Yeah, I'll chase the volume, and you look at the last time that Huntley played, it was double-digit targets, so that's fine, and the volume will be there, but with the tight end position, the game is always the same. You're chasing a touchdown. Yeah, Andrews has a higher probability of getting in the end zone than some of these cheaper tight ends, but he still has to get into the end zone. And I would rather take the savings, wouldn't take any of the guys that Steve mentioned and hope that I nail the touchdown right, and then take that money and then spend it on Cooper Kupp or spend it on another position where I can get higher output. Because Andrews can get you 7 catches for 70 yards, and that's not really going to help you. You can get 10 targets. He's got to get into the end zone. If he doesn't, well, then you're toast. I'd rather chase touchdowns from the cheapies.